Hello and welcome back to round 2 of our new series, Thursday Night Kessel Runs. It's a new standard tournament where champion is crowned as being the best smuggler of the week if they can win all their tournament games. Like we said, this is round 2. So we have Melvin on the left playing Vader, Greedo. We have Todd on the right playing the Yoda, Leia mill deck with Taking Ground that has recently been storming through regionals. These two decks by far have been the top 2 performing decks of this regional season. Todd is one of our resident mill players, so he will be well attuned to this deck. And Melvin finished second at the Atlanta Regional with the Thrawn Snoke pre-nerf deck. So we have the roll-off here. Even with Taking Ground, looks like Melvin wins the roll-off, which he should. So he'll take his Theed Royal Palace. That'll keep Todd off of Occupied City. So already Todd is behind in the game with the inability to discard a card each time that Melvin wants to play an upgrade or a support. Which there's not a lot in the deck, but there's enough to help. So Todd will go ahead and drop down a Force Jump. Melvin will go ahead and roll out the Terror to Behold himself, Darth Vader. Alright, he gets a 4 melee with a pay 1 and a 2 melee. Just like that, showing 6 damage on the table. That's over half health to either character, even with the shields on Leia. Todd will go ahead and play the Pacify. He'll remove the Vader 4, pay 1. Give him 2 shields. That'll allow Melvin to power action, discard a card, and re-roll the Vader die back into the pool. Of course, with Todd's mill deck, shields are... You want to give your opponent as many shields as possible. So Melvin will power action. He'll discard a No Good to Me Dead to bring in that character dice back to the pool. And it will roll a blank. Alright, Todd's going to go ahead and roll out Yoda. Yoda going to roll out with a shield, and a special. Melvin once again playing on the brand new Outer Rim Smuggler's playmat. Both sides next week and going forward will have those playmats ready. Melvin will play 1 to play Overconfidence. Todd will roll in. Gets both specials. Melvin chooses to remove the Force Jump special. That would allow Todd to change a die, showing damage to a blank, and re-roll that die instead of removing it from his pool. Todd rolls out Leia. Leia's showing a resource and a resource. Looks like Melvin has a Trust Your Instincts in his hand. Alright, so he's going to go ahead and resolve the 2 into Leia. Todd will special chain Yoda. So he'll mill 1 from the top. Change a die, mill another from the top, and then change Leia to the discard side. He's going to doubt the discard side. It's probably not a terrible option. Todd rolls into a resource, so that'll keep Melvin's hand safe. Melvin already will have to discard enough to re-roll Vader's die. He doesn't need any help from Todd. Todd thinking this over here. He just still has the Leia power action ability where he can remove a character die and the value showing on it, which is exactly what he's going to do. He's going to go ahead, instead of taking the resource, he's going to mill 1 from the top. He gets a Vibro Cutlass. That's one less weapon for Melvin. Melvin will go ahead and trust his instincts. It allows him to re-roll a character dice and its upgrade die if it had any. And then he'll be able to draw a card. Okay, so Melvin's going to go ahead and pay the 1 to deal 4 damage into Leia. Looks like Todd passed there. I think Todd could possibly claim here. He doesn't really have too many options. You don't want to really focus on Greedo's die too much. He's obviously there just to take 7 damage and keep Vader alive. So Melvin will roll in and get the 2 range side. He'll put that both into Leia. Leia's already down to 5 health. Turn 1. We get set up for the next round. Todd was not able to discard that many cards from either the hand or the deck. He doesn't have a Force Meditation out yet. His power action was only able to get 1 off the top of the deck. So he's in a little bit of a predicament right now. He's definitely not out of this by any means. One good turn in middle can really change the tide of this. He needs to keep Leia alive through at least another round and do massive deck damage. Okay, Todd makes sure he gets his resources. Rails in. Okay, so he's showing a focus and a discard. Looks like there's a fist in Melvin's hand. That's going to try to see play as soon as possible. So with Leia, you always have to be worried about the commando raid play. Even if it's a 1 discard, that's still 3 cards that will be out of your hand. And that's exactly what he goes for. He's going to go ahead and Hidden Motive, probably called discard. Wants to protect his hand. Yep. So Todd rolls into a blank, so that'll keep the die in the pool for now. And it also keeps Melvin's hand safe. Todd will drop down a 4 speed on Yoda. That'll help move things along a little bit faster for him. All right. Vader's going to roll in, showing a 3 melee and a blank. The blanks for Vader are so dangerous because your opponent, if he's not prepared for it, Melvin could easily 4 strike here. He has 3 resources. Boom. There's a 4 melee. And instead of having no damage on a character, you can immediately have 4 in an instant. So Todd rolls out Yoda. Yoda's going to roll out a special, a shield, a focus, and a disrupt. Melvin will go ahead and just take the 3, put it on Leia. Puts her at 2 health remaining. Todd can use the 4 speed special here, which he will. Okay, he's going to go ahead and 2 focus into the Yoda special and the 2 discard. And there's the commando raid, so that will kill Melvin's hand. It'll also allow Todd to draw a card. So we see the fist is gone. There's a rise again. There's a treasured and another trust your instincts. Yep, and the fist is that's going to keep Todd a little bit longer in this game. Rise again was a dead card to Melvin. Alright, so Greedo rolls in with the 2 indirect. If that stays in the pool, more than likely that'll go to Yoda. But with Force Jump in the pool, I think you're going to see Yoda's chain special into a mill and then change that Force Jump to the special and be able to blank the Greedo die. Melvin can do nothing else this turn. So there's the mill. And there's a special, so he'll blank. Once again, he is allowed to re-roll that die into his pool. Probably see a claim here. Melvin's going to check through his discard pile real fast, see how many cards he's lost and what cards he's given up. Yep, he has nothing else to do. He's going to go ahead and claim. Todd still has the power action available to Leia. First thing Todd does is take the shield, and then there's the power action. He'll get another card off the top. Actually gets 2 off the top because I showed a 2 focus. So we got a Friends in High Places. That'll once again help limit the upgrades that Melvin can play. Todd goes ahead and just drops down a Senate Chamber. I'm curious why he didn't play that earlier in the round. With its power action ability to remove a die, to turn a die to any side, that's a different version of Force Jump, which will help against Vader. But as the game goes on later against the Vader deck, I don't know that it's as good of a card as it is early game. Early game, it can definitely change the game in your favor. Melvin played that card beautifully in Atlanta with his Thrawn Snoke deck. There wasn't many people running that card at the time. This was probably the 1st of December. And it helped him pilot it to a second place finish against an excellent player from Artificery. All right, and we are all set up for round 3. Melvin has 5 resources, so if Fist is in his hand, it's going to come out. I see a Vader Saber promo. And that's what he plays. There's a Force Illusion as well. So probably didn't have the Fist. All right, Todd will activate Yoda. Smart play. Get the Force Jump in the pool early. All right, he rolls a special, a shield, and a disrupt. The special is on Force Jump. That'll help contain Vader's die, force Melvin to discard, which goes beautifully into Todd's plan. Big Daddy Vader rolls out. No, Knights of Columbus. Rolls a 4 pay 1, a 3 melee, and a 1 melee on the Vader Saber. With Melvin having 2 resources, he can resolve that Vader Saber, be able to pay 1 to roll in a character die back in, and do a damage. Let's see what kind of mitigation that Todd has. He does have 3 resources, so any mitigation he has, he should be able to pay for. He's going to go ahead and pay 2 for Beguile. He'll have him re-roll the 4 pay 1 first. Probably a smart move. Okay. He'll blank the other melee side, so the first one rolled resource. And he'll go ahead and remove the Vader Saber. I think that's the smart play all around by Todd. That'll force Melvin to discard or re-roll with a Force Jump still in the pool. So unless Melvin can roll 2 separate damage sides, which is a 50-50 with Vader, he's going to continually lose cards in his hand. Nope, and there's a Force Strike. Once again, as we were talking about earlier, the blank on Vader, you cannot sleep on it. Because if he has a Force Strike in his hand, he can kill you in an instant, which he does. He pops 4 into Leia. Actually pops 3 into Leia because that's all he needed was 3. So he still has 1 resource left on Melvin's side, and Leia is down for the count. So it's all up to the Muppet, as the local Outer Rim guys like to say. Senate Chamber comes in. The blank. course, that blank means really nothing. He's able to remove that die, and he can turn another die to any side. Greedo comes out and does his thing with a strong blank. So Todd will power action. Remove that die, turn a die to any side. He's going to grab that Yoda special. Melvin floating on a Darksaber. Looks like a paid off and a Force illusion. So he doesn't have the resources for paid off. He does now after taking the 2 resources on Vader. But he probably won't be able to do anything with it this round. So there's a special chain. Mill 1, change a die. So both Rise Agains are gone. Continue to special chain. So now he's showing a Force speed, which allows him to take 2 additional actions. And a Force jump special. Alright, he's just going to go ahead and take the action to claim the battlefield. Melvin will discard a Force illusion to reroll Greedo. In about 97% of cases, you would not discard to reroll Greedo, especially a Force illusion. But with Mill, that card's a dead card. So then he discards one more time, rerolls, gets 1 damage off of Greedo, so he's going to go ahead and put that into Yoda. We are moving on to the next round. So Melvin will keep the Darksaber in his hand. Looks like I saw a delve as well. He has the resources to pay for the saber straight up, but he could also delve if he wanted to. I'm not a fan of paying 3 just to get a 4 cost out, especially when you have 5 resources. Because if you have 5 resources in a Vader deck, you're either playing the Fist or you're playing a high upgrade. So a delve into a Fist I can fully understand because that saves you 2 resources. And there's the delve. So he is going to delve into probably the Darksaber. Can't say that I... Oh, he's got another delve in his hand too. Question is, does he have another upgrade in his hand? Now, if he has another upgrade in his hand, it's a great play because he can get a resource off at least one of those die. All right, Todd rolls in. Hits a shield on the 4 speed, and then does 3 specials. Alright. So Vader rolls out. And rolls all melee damage, which is deathly scary. Todd will go ahead and Suppressive Fire to remove one of Vader's character dice. Great thing about Suppressive Fire is that occurs during Melvin's turn, because it states after a character is activated, which Melvin's asking about right now. But because Suppressive Fire was done during Melvin's turn, that die cannot be power action back into the pool. It's a great card against Vader. Alright, so since it is Todd's turn, he's going to go ahead and hit motive on the Darksaber, calling melee. And he hits that, so that's off the pool now. So what looked as if Todd was going to be in major trouble, he may be able to escape this round, because he still is showing a Force Jump special. That's going to blank one of those. So he's going to go ahead and Force Strike. He'll pay 1. Go ahead and put 4 into Yoda. That puts Yoda at half health. Melvin counting his deck. He's down to 4 cards in deck and looks like 2 cards in hand. So if Todd can survive, he's in a decent chance here to manage and live. So there's a mill. She's probably going to go ahead and mill again. Yes. So Melvin's going to be out of deck definitely next turn. There's the force jump special. He'll blank the Vader saber. Re-rolls it back into the pool with a blank. He can still resolve special, so he can still take 2 additional actions if he wants to. Okay, he'll take 2 additional actions. First, power action, gain a resource. In his second action, he'll go ahead and put down another 4 speed. Goes back to Melvin. Melvin will roll out Greedo. Todd thinking about his actions here. There's still a saber die in the pool. And with cards like Legacies, you have to be aware of that with a card that has so many modified sides. I doubt that Melvin is running that in his deck, because that's really the only die that has that. But it would be a blowout if he re-rolled into a modified side and played that. Okay, so he's going to overconfidence, okay? And he'll take the Greedo die, and it does roll into the modified on the Vader saber. Melvin doesn't think he has anything else, so he's going to go ahead and claim. Todd will roll out the Senate chamber. Great, that has not been removed from the pool, so that should have stayed in. So he'll power action a Senate chamber. Probably go ahead and grab a shield if I had to guess. Or he removes the forced one. He's going to actually resolve that as a discard. Okay. So he gets the other delve out of Melvin's hand. Okay. So Melvin is out of the deck. And he's down to 3 cards in hand. Now for Todd, the problem becomes the specials are not going to help you at this point. They'll help you with shields, but you need discard sides. You need Yoda to be focusing into discard sides and getting rid of his hand. Alright, so Melvin's going to go ahead and roll out Vader. Stay ahead of that force jump on Todd. Looks like he rolls a bunch of damage. He's showing 3 melee sides. Melvin only needs 6 to knock out Yoda and end the game. If Todd could have enough control here, either force Melvin to discard to reroll, or be able to discard his hands from his deck. He may be able to pull this out. Okay, that's one good way to do it. Mind trick. That'll force Melvin to separate his dice pool into 2 separate groups of his choosing, and then Todd will get to choose one of those dice pools to remove. Alright, so he takes a character die off of Vader and a dark saber, pulls them together, so he's going to keep one Vader saber and the other Vader character die out. And there's a price of failure in Melvin's hand. It's the first one we've seen so far. I would not be shocked if he tries to just let Todd do his thing this round and then price of failure to roll back in. With 50% chance on 3 of the dice, I think you can easily do multiple damage. So Melvin's going to go ahead and resolve, putting 5 into Todd. And then he'll pay the 1 to roll back in a character die. That puts Yoda at 9. So Yoda's 1 health away. Alright, so he'll remove that. That'll give Melvin 2 shields. Not that he needs him in this deck, but Melvin needs to remember to take his 2 shields. Okay, so he's going to go ahead and price a failure now. I'm wondering why not just go ahead and roll out Greedo and then see if you can get the damage. Okay, so he doesn't hit damage, but that'll reset Vader. Looks like that showed as a disrupt. He should still be able to resolve that disrupt if he wanted to. I don't know why he didn't. But this does give Todd an opportunity to roll out and get that force jump special in play. So Todd decides he wants to roll a bunch of focus, including the force jump. Melvin will just go ahead and activate. And once again, Vader does what Vader does best. Just slam a bunch of damage at you. Now, Todd has 2 resources, and he has a 4 speed showing, special showing, so he'll be able to take 2 additional actions. He can try to mitigate as much of it as possible, and then be able to change one of the die as well. I just don't know he'll be able to fully overcome this whole amount of damage. Okay, so he's going to blank a character die. Looks like that roll back into a resource or a shield. He'll be allowed to continue to special chain. So he'll take a shield, flip a die. So he's both his 4 speeds are now on the specials. Okay, he'll take another. He takes a resource and a shield, okay. It's an interesting move. I think you have to turn the force jump to the special. Okay, that's what he does. He changes his mind, which is, in our local events, we do allow players to change their mind as long as it's within their own turn. So he goes ahead, and instead of taking the additional shield, he's going to go ahead and resolve the force jump. Now he's going after the Darksaber. The problem with that is that the card specifically says on force jump you must turn it to a blank. So technically he can't turn that to a blank. So he looks and he decides, okay, now he decides to turn the Vader die to the blank. So good call by both of them to pick that up. Okay, Todd will continue to resolve specials. So he gets 3 of the 4 off of their damage sides. The Darksaber still showing melee. Todd will heal 2. That'll put him at 7. Now the problem with that is that the Darksaber is showing 2 melee. With it on Vader, that increases it by 2. So that's going to kill. That's going to kill Yoda right there. Melvin making sure that the math's correct. It is. Yep. So with Vader being a 23-point character, that allows the Darksaber to be resolved plus 2. So 2 melee plus 2, 4 melee total. And that does it. Great game by 2 great guys. Todd got Melvin down to 2 cards in hand and almost was able to force him to discard to reroll. But Melvin does come out with the win. Melvin now 2-0. He will be moving on to our final match. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate you watching. And we will be back with you shortly for the championship round of the Thursday night Kessel Run.